Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantaraj, Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Hari Bol. Today we're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 22, text number 8, and it says, O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When a disciple is perfectly in consonance with the spiritual master, having received his message and executed it perfectly and sincerely, he has a right to ask a particular favor from the spiritual master. Generally, a pure devotee of the Lord or a pure disciple of a bona fide spiritual master does not ask for any favor, either from the Lord or the spiritual master. But even if there is a need to ask a favor from the spiritual master, one cannot ask that favor without satisfying him fully. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to disclose his mind regarding the function he wanted to execute due to affection for his daughter. Okay, so uh, text number 9. My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The grown-up daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Devahuti, had good character and was well qualified. Therefore, she was searching for a suitable husband just befitting her age, qualities, and character. The purpose of Manu's introducing his daughter as the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada, two great kings, was to convince the sage that the girl came from a great family. She was his daughter, and at the same time, the sister of Kshatriyas. She did not come from a lower class family. Manu, therefore, offered her to Kardama as just suitable for his purpose. It is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independent. She expressed her desire for a suitable husband corresponding to her character, age, and quality. And the father himself, out of affection for his daughter, took charge of finding such a husband. Now, this is very interesting. Why? Because uh, the traditionally the father uh, had the responsibility of getting his daughter married, and he had therefore the responsibility of finding a suitable person for his daughter. This was traditional from earliest times. Now, how do you find a suitable husband? Well, it says here, suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. So, how can the father find out if there's a man that's qualified in terms of his age, character, and good qualities? Well, he's got to ask. He's got to talk to the parents of the boy, and he could ask around to other people who know the family, who know the boy, and in that way, uh, vet the boy very carefully. So I had a friend of mine. He was trying to find a suitable uh, girl to marry his son, and but he didn't really uh, look at the girl carefully. He himself was attracted to this one girl because she like seemed to be uh, very pretty girl, and on that basis, he recommended his son to marry that girl, and the marriage was a total disaster. The girl had no uh, feelings for the boy. The only reason she married him was to get his money because it was a wealthy family, and the whole thing was a disaster. Why? Because the father uh, didn't know how to actually find the girl. Um, so the let's see, the qualifications of a suitable husband is you have to look at the age, the character, and good qualities. So uh, that requires some research, and that requires some time also. So that the boy that's going to be chosen is suitable, will be a suitable husband, just befitting his daughter's age, qualities, and character. Okay, so the daughter has to have qualification, and the boy should also have qualifications. And the process of choosing the right boy uh, uh, also entails talking with the parents of the boy, and even going further, you can ask people that know the boy uh, and do some research. So that's more or less uh, uh, what is going to happen. What's happening here? So it says the grown-up daughter of Swayambhuvamanu, Devahuti, had good character and was well qualified. Therefore, she was searching for a suitable husband, just befitting her age, qualities, and character. The purpose of Manu's introducing his daughter as the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada, two great kings, was to convince the sage that the girl came from a great family. She was his daughter and at the same time the sister of Kshatriyas. She did not come from a lower class family. Manu therefore offered her to Kardama just as and as just suitable for his purpose. It is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independently. She expressed her desire for a suitable husband corresponding to her character, age, and quality, and the father himself, out of affection for his daughter, took charge of finding such a husband. Well, once there was a man who had a daughter, and you know he had also a donkey, so he wanted to sell his donkey. So he was trying to figure out how to do this. So he took his donkey to the marketplace and just sat there and had a little sign, donkey for sale. Nobody was interested at all. Right? So days went by, and he was beginning to get frustrated because no one at all was interested in the donkey. So then he had an idea. So the next day he went and uh, instead of just sitting there with a sign donkey for sale, he started talking very loudly about the qualities of the donkey. And he said, this donkey is for sale. It's the best donkey in the whole world. Just take a look at the teeth of the donkey. Then he sort of opened the mouth of the donkey a little bit, and said, and look at the ears. Look how big they are. And then he made the donkey sort of move his ears. And then he said, yeah, and look at the feet of the donkey. They're in good shape. And this way he was hawking. Look that word up. Hawing. Hawking the qualities of the donkey. And then what?
Yeah. Of a person hunt game with a trained hawk.
No, there's another definition.
Carry around and offer goods for sale,
Yeah,
typically advertising them by shouting.
exactly right. So that's what he was doing. He was shouting, "Look at the teeth of this donkey. Look at the ears of the donkey. Look at the feet of the donkey," like that. He just kept talking really loudly, and now he started attracting people, and then eventually he sold the donkey. Okay, so now uh, fast forward a little bit. He his his daughter needed to get married, so one day, uh, this is like the the same day or 1 or 2 days after he sold the donkey, there was a meeting in their house where his wife had invited the family of a nice girl because they had a son, and the wife was trying to get the daughter married, and so he was doing something else, and then he comes, and there's the wife, there's the daughter, and there's the mother and father of the son, and the son, all sitting down, and then he comes in, and the wife is really upset because he's late. So she looks at him and gives him a very she looks at him and gives a askance. Is that the word properly? Askance. What's that say? Askance.
With,
What?
with an attitude or look of suspicion or disapproval.
Exactly right. So, so he the wife gives her husband, a glancing at him with askance, she's upset because he came late and the family of the boy is there and the boy is there and the daughter is there. So, and this is like, a day or two after he sold the donkey. So the wife gives him some dirty looks, angry looks. And then finally she said, "Well, why don't you say something?" So he was thinking, "What am I going to say?" So he stands up and says, "Well, look at my daughter. Look, look at her nose, and look at her feet, and how about her arms and her legs?" He was just the same way he sold the donkey. Right? And of course, the family of the girl got really shocked, the way he was hawking his daughter, and they said, "Well, okay, well, we'll think about this," and they left right away. So sometimes, uh, you can't, you, you can't think that one strategy will work for everything. So obviously, that family left, and the daughter was still not married. Okay, so in this purport today, it says the grown-up daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Devahuti, had good character and was well qualified. Therefore, she was searching for a suitable husband just befitting her age, qualities, and character. The purpose of Manu's introducing his daughter as the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada, two great kings, was to convince the sage that the girl came from a great family. She was his daughter and at the same time the sister of Kshatriyas. She did not come from a lower class family. Manu therefore offered her to Kardama as just suitable for his purpose. It is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independently. She expressed her desire for a suitable husband corresponding to her character, age, and quality, and the father himself, out of affection for his daughter, took charge of finding such a husband. Well, this was a traditional way. Uh, they didn't leave the choice to the daughter. And they didn't just choose the first person, first man that they saw. They would carefully vet the boy and find out who his family is, and they would meet with the family, and also they would have an astrologer look at the you would call um, qualities of the girl and see if they were similar or somewhat similar to the qualities of the boy. So there was a whole investigation, let's say, not a really investigation, but a whole process of vetting the boy, and also the parents of the boy would vet the qualities of the girl, just make sure that they were corresponding, or they would be, let's say, suitable for each other. Okay. Uh, Nowadays, sometimes, uh, the father doesn't make a real effort to get the daughter married. The daughter goes out, and she sees somebody who's a good musician, And right away, she wants to get married without really understanding who that person is. And, it ends up, they call this, I think in Hindi, they call it a love marriage. There's no love involved, actually. It's also lust. And uh, oftentimes, those love marriages don't work. You know, they last a few years and then they get a divorce. And nowadays, I mean, previously, let's say if you go back 50 to 80 years in the Gujarati community, there was never divorce. Never. Fast forward today, there's a lot of divorce. So that was a Gujarati community. And in general, the Indian community, there were not that many divorces previously. If you go back, 50 years, 100 years, now there's plenty of divorces. And you have all these lawyers who are experts in divorce procedures. And um, so it's basically, I love you. And then after a little while, I hate you, I hate you, you know. So uh, unfortunately, there's this type of, and it's a lot. There's a lot of divorces going on. I would say, as a spiritual teacher, I have like every month at least one or two ladies that come and talk to me because they're in the process of divorcing their husband, right? And it's very tragic. It's a tragic thing because usually it's due to the fact that they're arguing and the well, if girls are taught in home science, that's important. And how to be a good wife and how to manage a house and how to please a husband. So I always recommend when there's if someone asks me about, well, how can I find a good husband? I say, well, first of all, you should read the book about uh, about great women in the Vedic history, right? And there have been many great women in the history of India, and there's books about them also. So I always recommend that they read. Uh, okay, what's the name of the book? Um, well, okay, today we're reading about the Swayambhuva Manu and Devahuti. So 3/4 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I might be wrong, but it seems to me about 3/4 of the Srimad Bhagavatam is all about man-woman relationships. Why? Because uh, it's just now we're reading about uh, you know uh, Swayambhuva Manu and Devahuti. Is it Devahuti? Yeah, yeah. So you see, this is a big issue, man-women relationship. Why? Because the whole, let's say, uh, whole stability of society based on man-women woman relationship. In order for a man and woman to live together peacefully is absolutely important because they're going to have children And the worst thing that can happen in a family is to have divorce because it is devastating for the children. So therefore, there were always, very careful vetting of the boy or the girl, so that there would be compatibility and they would be able to live together. And so the main thing is this. One time, one devotee boy came up to me and said, Prabhu, I need some advice. I said, okay, what's that? He said, I'm trying to get married. I said, okay. And he said, and I found this one girl that I would like to marry. I said, okay. He said, but I went to an astrologer and he did a study of this girl, uh, and it looks like that we have nothing in common, and it won't be a good marriage. I said, all right. He said, but I still want to marry her. He said, what is your advice? Well, I don't even know who the girl is, right? But I said to him, well, is she a devotee? He said, yes. And you are a devotee? He said, yes. So if you both are determined to follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, then and you don't deviate from Krishna consciousness, then your marriage will be a success. I said, if she's not a devotee, or if you're not a devotee, and after you did your research with an astrologer, an astrologer says that you're not compatible, you would have to follow what the astrologer says. But if you're both devotees and you're both dedicated to following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, you can ignore what the astrologer says, and you'll live together because you'll be able to control your mind and your senses. The problem why there's divorce is people can't control their mind and senses, and they begin to argue. And like one time, this lady came up to me and said, I want to talk to you. I said, okay. She said, but I want to talk to you in private. I said, I never talk in private. I said, if you want to talk to me, you can talk right here. She said, okay. So she said that I married the wrong person. I said, all right. So what are you going to do? And she said, I want to get a divorce. I said, I don't think that's a good idea. She said, why not? I said, well, because uh, you already made one mistake. There's no guarantee that the next person you marry will be the right person. Then you'd have two mistakes. I said, make the principle in Krishna consciousness is make the best uh, of a bad bargain. Yeah, make the best of a bad bargain. So, for example, if let's say you buy a car and a used car, and so 1 or 2 or 3 months after you buy the car, it breaks down, so you have to get it fixed. And you bought the car because it seemed to be a very good deal. It wasn't very expensive at all. So there's a saying uh, that if you buy a used car, you'll spend money trying to repair it because it'll be a lot of breakdowns because it's already used. If you buy a new car, even though it's more expensive, but you probably won't have to repair it for 5 years or 10 years. So it's better to buy a new car, even though it's more expensive, than a used car that you have to repair it regularly or over uh, because it's already used and everything in the car uh, is going to be susceptible of being not being of breaking down. So it's better to buy a new car than to buy a used car because you buy a used car and you keep repairing it, you're going to end up the same amount of money as if you had bought a brand new car. So in the same way, uh, if you want to get married, uh, you shouldn't just marry because just because they're handsome or beautiful. And just like um, no, what was the name of that demon woman? Uh, uh, so sometimes, women look attractive because of uh, cosmetics. You know, they might actually be pretty ugly, but they get all fixed up in the with cosmetics, and they look decent or they look much nicer. Like whenever it is
Like Putana.
Putana, yeah, exactly. Like for example, whenever there's an Indian marriage, all the women have a cosmetic person that comes to their home, and the cosmetic person, fixes the hair, fixes the nose, fixes the eyes, fixes the face, and all of a sudden, when you see the mother of the groom or the mother of the daughter, yeah, she looks almost as young as the daughter, but it's all cosmetics. And uh, okay, so uh, you shouldn't just judge a person by their looks, although that's one criterion. But you should judge a person rather over a period of time by the way they talk and the values that they have. You see, like someone can be a very, a girl can be very, very pretty, but she might have very bad values. Or a boy might be very handsome, but he might have very bad values. Just like one time I was doing this marriage and uh, I speaking to the boy and the girl, and I said to the boy, I said, look, when you get married, you have a vow of marriage that you promise never to, break this vow. You're not going to go around with other women. He says, no, but I like to do that. So, uh, he said it just openly, like, in front of everyone. So I don't think that marriage lasted very long. Okay, so we see there what whatever vow you make, that defines who you are. So if you're a person who breaks vows, well, that means that you will not probably have a successful marriage with such a person. There has to be faithfulness. And oftentimes, uh, when a wife finds out that her husband is having illicit relationships with another woman, or the husband finds out that his wife is having relationships with another man, uh, there's a breakdown of faith in that person, and then usually it ends up in divorce. Like for example, I had a friend of mine. He was an Indian gentleman. He was married to an Indian lady, and he was a very nice man. And she was a very nice lady. Both of them were highly educated, and they both had great jobs, and it looked like a perfect marriage. But then the boy started having relationships with other women, and the wife found out. So then she, uh, well, let's put it like this: the wife was a very smart lady. So was the husband. He was both of them were well educated, but she got really upset, and therefore she divorced the husband, and the divorce was really, one-sided. She got, everything she wanted to get out of the divorce, and he ended up, with nothing, right? But that was not enough. So, because, when a woman is cheated, uh, not all women are like that, but when some women get really upset, and now they become an enemy of the husband, and they want to destroy the husband. So even though they got a divorce, then the wife went to the IRS and explained to the IRS people all the things that her husband was doing. And I mean, she knew what he was doing. It's not about cheating on her. It's all his business transactions that were illegal. So now he gets divorced, and now the IRS goes after him, and he ends up in jail. That's how bad it was. And then while he's in jail, she also goes to the what do you call them? The oh,
Visitings.
what?
You're talking about the visits?
No. Okay, she goes to uh, oh the people uh, they vet the foreigners that come to the country. So
Immigration?
yeah, she went to immigration. She goes to immigration. She goes to immigration, and she tells immigration all the cheating he did and lying he did, in order to get into the country and this thing and that thing. So he's already in trouble, right? Now the trouble gets worse, and he gets thrown out of the United States, and he's never allowed to come back to the United States. In other words, his wife completely ruined him, and why? Because she was a decent lady, but she had, she was so upset by what he did, because she was a faithful woman too. I mean, she didn't have any bad habits, but when she was cheated like that by this man, she wanted to destroy him, and she did. He got thrown out of the country without the possibility of coming back. So she got her revenge. uh, what's that word in Hindi? Badla. Yeah. So you have to be careful, because uh, if you make a mistake, well, you have to learn to make the best out of a bad bargain, right? So, and this was normal in previously. Let's say you go back 100 years. There were not so many divorces at that time, even though maybe the husband was not the right person for the wife. But you make the best of a bad bargain. Now, you know, you, you can ease. Before it was very difficult to get a divorce.
Elders used to be,
Huh?
elders used to watch and
Yeah.
used to guide.
But now it's easy to get a divorce. I mean, it can be because there's no fault divorces. In other words, you don't need to have a reason why you want a divorce. You can just say, I want the divorce. Whereas before, you had to prove that there was reason to get a divorce in court. Right? Okay, so what's happened is the culture has changed, and it's very unfortunate because it creates a lot of misery, and especially for the children. Someone is married, has has three kids, and then husband starts cheating on the wife. It's devastating, especially for the children and for the wife. And oftentimes, if the wife is not highly educated, and the husband is the only one who's bringing in money in the family, and now he has a girlfriend, oh, she's devastated. She doesn't know what to do. Yeah. And oftentimes, like it's not that they're in India now. She's in the United States, and her family is in India, and now she's completely in control, or controlled by her husband because he's the only one that's making money in the family. So it's like devastating.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
So we talk about dharma from the scriptures, right?
Yes.
And when at the time and place changes, the dharma also takes a change. Like, for example, 50, 60 years back, because the man was the only prominent worker, however he was, there were some ladies who took the pain. For the
Took the
sake
pain?
of being with the husband, even though he was beating up, even though he had different affairs, all of that. She took the pain
To
for
protect the
raising
family.
and also she was financially dependent.
Yes.
So as the time changed, of course, it went into extremity, and that goes with the abortion as well.
Yeah.
So how do we understand that? Like, there are some of my own friends, they had issues with fertility, and the baby had to be removed at the 4th month, 5th month. And now when this law comes in place, life is at the risk.
What law?
The ban of abortion comes into place. They are also neglected because they cannot abort the baby as per the law, and the life of the mother is at the risk. So how do we? It's not that they don't want the baby, it's that they cannot, because they both are at, the life of the baby is anyway gone, but now life of mother is also at risk. So in these situations, how do we navigate through?
Well, let's see. I'll give you an example. One of my daughters got sick when she was pregnant. Right. And everybody told her, doctor told her, and her friends told her, and parents also told her that she should get a divorce. She should get an abortion. So my daughter called me up, right? And she explained, everyone was saying that she should get an abortion because she got a sickness when she was pregnant, and there was very good chance that the child would be born like with some kind of congenital disease, and it was recommended by the doctor, uh, and then parents also, and everybody told her she should get an abortion. So she calls me up and she says, "What should I do?" I said, "Well," I said, she was in India in the Vrindavan with her husband. And she calls me up. And I says, what should I do? Everyone's telling me to get an abortion. I said, well, you're in a holy place, probably the holiest place in the world. And you're a devotee, you're chanting. I would completely depend on Krishna. She said, okay, I'll do that. The child was born and there was nothing wrong. Because I told her, look, you're in Vrindavan. It's the holiest place in the world. You are a good devotee. And, if you just pray to Krishna, then he can protect you. And that's what happened. Everyone else told her, even her mother told her she should get into it because she had some kind of a sickness during the pregnancy. And it was highly recommended to abort the baby. The doctors were saying, it's a good chance the baby will be crippled or something like that. Okay, so she listened to what I said, and the child came out healthy. There was nothing wrong with him, and he's grown up to be a very good person. Okay, so it's very complicated today because it's easy for people to say, I'm going to get a divorce or I'm going to get an abortion. It's very easy to do that, and it doesn't really solve a problem. And if you abort a baby, it's a very, very sinful thing to do. But it seems to be a normal thing now because every year, you can look this up, every year in the United States, there's about more than 500,000 abortions of babies, more than that. And when a mother aborts a baby, and at first she thinks it's the right thing to do. But later on, many times, I'm not saying all the time, but many times, they regret doing it. Yeah. What's it say? How many, what are we trying to do? How many abortions are there a year in the United States? It's like more than 500,000.
Yeah, 600,000.
Huh?
Last time we looked at it was about 600,000.
Right. So, and that's the ones that are declared. There could be much more because they're not always, sometimes people do it without saying anything to anyone. Okay, what's it say?
In the present day, there are some people who are really demoniac.
Yeah.
They are killing the baby because it's a girl.
Oh, that happens a lot in India.
I mean,
So
Wait a minute, let her finish.
so yes, Maharaj. I mean, it used to happen when we were young and we heard that. So they took away that knowing the
Oh,
sex of the
yeah,
baby.
yeah.
But now in US, Australia, in these countries where you get to know,
Yeah.
they still do that is such an unfortunate.
Wow. They only want boys.
I mean, so much of blood pressure to hear that. But
Is it Indians in these countries or is it the Carlo?
typical Indian.
Yeah, Indian.
1 million abortions.
What?
1 million.
1,026,690.
Wow. The number went up.
Where in terms of in US?
Yeah,
Yes.
1 million.
Good.
2023, the abortion rate in the United States is risen despite the Supreme Court's decision in overturning Roe v. Wade in 2022. This increase is primarily due to higher abortion numbers in states where the procedure remains legal, compensating for the declines in states with stricter bans. In 2023, there were approximately 1,037,000 abortions, translating to a rate of
16%.
of 16% of 15.9 abortions per 1,000 women of reproductive age, making an 11% increase compared to 2020 levels.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge number. And it's not good for a woman also to abort the baby. So I know women, I was sitting down next to a woman at some program we had, this a long time ago. And she, somehow or other, we started talking about abortions. And the woman that was sitting next to me, she said that she's aborted 5 times. I was like really shocked, and she was like happy that she did it, you know. So it's like demoniac, it's like horrible. So this is because people can't control themselves. So they have contraceptives and abortion, all these things. You have pills now. You take the pill and it aborts the baby right away. Yeah.
So I read this book in like kindergarten or something. It was about how there's one girl that was born
Yeah.
in I forget which like area of the world, like it's either Africa or in like Pakistan or something like that. And the book said that they celebrate when a boy is born, but they like wish the lady good luck, the what the mother of the baby good luck if the girl is born.
Good luck.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I was curious.
They're enjoying when there is born.
They're enjoying the boy is born, but they don't. So
They have like a festival when the boy is born, and they start lamenting when the girl is born. You think something like that, yeah. Well, um, that's why there's such a thing as following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, and being satisfied with whatever God gives you. And if you follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, then usually you'll have the king's choice. What's the king's choice? You'll have a boy and a girl. That's the king's choice, ideal in a way. But like my mom and my father, they had 3 sons, right? So it's different. Sometimes people have like 4 daughters or 6 daughters, and whatever. I mean, people should be happy that the child is healthy, right, and grows up to be a good person. So all this is you have to understand about one thing: the sex of a child is fluid. It's not something eternal. It's just a temporary thing for this lifetime. So whether it's a boy or a girl shouldn't really matter. What matters is that they should be Krishna conscious, right? But if you're going to abort a baby because you find out it's a girl and you don't want to have a girl, so you want to have an abortion right away, that's all demoniac. And unfortunately, it's a modern phenomenon. But and even abortion, like I told you a story about one of my daughters. She was told to get an abortion because she got sick when she was still pregnant, and everyone was telling her. The doctor told her, and all her friends told her that she should get a divorce. I mean, an abortion. And then she calls me up from India and she tells me this. What should I do? And I said, look, you're living in the holy place. You're chanting Hare Krishna. You should completely depend on Krishna. Because aborting a baby is a very simple thing. And she listened to me, and the baby came out perfect. And he's grown up to be a good boy. But it's a hard decision to make when everybody else is telling you, the doctor is telling you, abort the baby.
The real test of faith.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're almost finished. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, any questions online?
I have a comment, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Haribol.
So there was a lady in my team, Maharaj, recently. She was in my team and she was going through a pregnancy. And these days, I think something we all also should be aware of. Because of science, during pregnancy, they do all these tests and ultrasounds and all that. So they find something which they think is like it might happen. So there might be a chance that there might be issues with the development of the baby, but a very remote chance. And they gave her that information, and then they really scared her. There was a long time she was depressed. She was on my team, and I was like trying to mentor her. And these days at work, you cannot say there's certain things you cannot say, but I was trying to encourage her to think holistic and have faith. And she kept faith and kept the baby, and the baby is completely fine. But there were at least like 3 months where the doctors they will not give any advice. They'll just say you have to make the decision. There's a remote chance, and they're giving information.
No, what they do is they give you devastating
Exactly.
information, and then you're stuck.
They put this doubt in you. And thing
Yeah.
is, if the chances of the baby, I mean, of course, even that is wrong because you don't know what is going to happen. You have to have faith in Krishna. Even if the chances of the baby not being healthy are also high, even then you have to think very hard. But they're giving you information even when the probability is very low, and you're putting a doubt. That also is causing more people to, at least this person was, I don't think she's a devotee, but she had faith in God. Like we were talking about that outside work, and she kept the baby. But a lot of people might not have that. And so that might be causing more abortions and like more fear.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that shows the downside of science, right? Like, so it's giving information and inducing more fear and causing more devastation in the end by doing that in a way.
And they only explain the problem.
Yeah.
They don't talk about
The remedy.
the absolutely no problem. They scare you to the pregnancy itself is a pain.
They'll give you the worst case and say, oh, probability is 5%. That's the worst case. Then that's it. The mind has gone from there if you don't have like proper regulation and all. And if you don't have a framework on how to think through, that really scares you and makes you to take these bad decisions sometimes.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, you have to have some values,
Mhm.
spiritual values, and you have to depend on Krishna. So then, just like I told my daughter, you just pray and you accept whatever Krishna is going to give you, and not be not listen to what these people are saying. The veterinary, the doctor is saying, all her friends were saying, you have to get an abortion. And I told her, don't think about that. Think about, what's your relationship with Krishna and what does it mean to actually kill a baby, uh, you know. So, and she listened to me, and the little boy came out perfect. So many times, the doctors and even your friends, scare you or intimidate you. And just like, as soon as a baby is born, immediately the doctors want to give shots into that little baby the second day. That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. That's why autism has increased tremendously. Look it up. Before autism, there was some, but there was not a lot. Like, they say, so many, like, 100 in the out of 1,000, but the number of autistic children now has increased tremendously from what it was, let's say 100 or 50 years ago. It's increased tremendously. Yeah.
Did they say earlier it was 1 in 150 children?
Yeah.
Now it's 1 in 36 as of 2020.
Yeah.
The latest studies say 1 in 4,
1 in 4.
1 in 4?
because the autism spectrum has increased.
Yeah, exactly. Mm.
The umbrella of autism has increased.
Oh,
So every 1 in 4 kids has, if you test, you and I will also be autistic.
what is? Oh,
Now you have to say, why is this happening? Well, because people are not following regulative principles. Once a woman gets pregnant, there should not be any sex. But people can continue doing that, even though, and they know that that she can't get more pregnant because she's already pregnant. So they think they can have more sex. That it's very like dangerous way of living, and the values have deteriorated tremendously. Okay, so the incidence of autism has increased. Why? Well, it's because the second day of the birth of a baby, doctors give shots into that little baby. If they make a little mistake in the dosage, that can cause autism. Now, a lot of people will argue with me, that's not right. How do you know? You're not a doctor, Yeah.
You should not be giving so many vaccinations to the kid in the
Yeah.
first 2 years.
Yeah.
Unless it is very, very the crucial one.
Yeah.
Because less than 2 years, they give around 40 shots for a baby.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
2 years?
Like within first 2 years, they get around 40 shots. When we were small, hardly maybe 2, 3 shots.
Yeah.
And the polio was through the mouth,
Yeah.
not through the shot. And now, the moment the baby is born, there are 5 shots given. Correct.
I would never do. And I always tell women, they're going to try and scare you. Just say no. As long as you can breastfeed the baby, there's not going to be a problem. If you can't breastfeed the baby, then there might be a problem. But if you breastfeed the baby right from the beginning, there's not going to be a problem, especially the first 6 months. But today, they, oh my God, they give shots, so many shots. You know, they give shots a couple days after they're born, and then 3 months, and then 6 months, and 1 year, and it's terrible, and they scare you also. They scare you.
I think new autism here in US, in Indian families also not that much. You don't see in India.
No, it's just, we are not aware.
There's a lot of autistic kids amongst Indians now.
Yeah, yes, Maharaj. Here I'm noticing many. I keep discussing with my wife that only in India we don't see that many. Here it is among Indian families also. So many.
No, it's because
of the
of the shots that these kids are given right after they're born.
I was thinking from maybe some food issue or something like that, but it's because of the shots.
Which talks about how this medicines influence the kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in California do not go for,
Shot.
but unfortunately the school makes it mandatory. But after two, once the body picks up some immunity, those shots are also okay. But like how COVID reacted to some of the adult bodies. There is,
Well, you have a right as a parent to say it's against my religion. And they can't argue with you. At least before it was like that. I don't know if, I mean, they'll argue with you, but they'll try and scare you. But you can say, it's against my religion.
I know a doctor family in US who are doctors and they don't take vaccination. They don't even take COVID shot. So they haven't. And
Well, I don't either. So you know someone else. I never took a COVID shot.
ESD is nearly 4 times more common in boys than girls.
What's that? Oh,
Autism.
Autism spectrum.
and it is also genetic.
1 in 36 children in the United States have been identified as of 2023.
that's terrible. If you go back in history, it was a lot less than that.
There are around 75 million people with autism.
In the United States?
I think it's around the world.
World. It's almost like 1%, near to 1% of the world.
Oh,
And whites are 2.4%, blacks are 2.9%, Hispanic are 3.2%, Asian 3.3.
okay. Well, you better be born,
In
say,
India, the kids are thrown into the system where
Yeah.
they talk so much and so on with your uncle, aunt, this, that. And so a lot of this is also just training certain parts of the brain. So that's why here also they teach like floor time because the kids are left alone. They're even engaged, right? That's what is happening. So the therapies are also occupational therapy, right? Which means like you actually teach them how to talk, teach them how to pay attention to some things and so on. But that's by the parents sit with them or the counselors sit with them and then teach them. So, but in India, because of the exposure to a lot of kids and a lot of people within the family, so the kids automatically get that kind of exposure, like the uncles, aunties, and grandparents.
what exposure though? What do you mean?
Because the kids here, they don't have anybody to talk to.
If they're
They're a
autistic?
little bit autistic also, so they leave them, so they tend to program themselves that okay, they have to be in isolation. So that's what causes even.
Yeah.
The floor time process is nothing but that only. So you sit down to the kids level and then you interact with the kids. Now the kid is now, because if you stand and then talk, the kid cannot relate to you. So it was
It's part of the treatment.
Yeah, it's part of the treatment that you actually do what they call floor time. Means the parent also sits down at the kid level and then plays the games with them or asks questions and then have because the it's part of the training the brain.
Okay, but let's say that there's a saying that if you, what's this thing? That you should not do something that will give a bad result. So, yeah, prevention is better than cure. Okay, prevention is better than cure. So the prevention is better than cure. Don't get all the shots that they give kids.
Yeah, here they are giving reason, Maharaj. Some researchers believe environmental factors like exposure to air pollution and maternal stress are the main causes for autism.
What is maternal stress?
Maybe
Mother going through
here,
stress.
maybe ladies are alone. No? See, in India, you have all the relatives gathering around. Here, they're alone, left alone. Maybe
That's a speculation.
It doesn't matter which country.
no, but see, at least you will have some person to help you, no? Moms and relatives. They're left alone.
But the
No.
age factor
I
is
believe
one.
researchers are believing.
True, true.
Yeah.
There is the age factor that the marriage age is increased and having the kids in the age is also increased. Definitely anxiety, depression,
Anxiety, yeah.
stress adds on to everything.
Mm.
At the same time, as Maharaj says, we are losing our ethical values. And
Well, there's no doubt that when a woman is pregnant, she gets, especially if it's the first pregnancy, she's like devastated, you know. And it's very, you know, disturbing for her because now, and then as soon as she has the child, that's when it really gets complicated. Like this first year of mother who has first child, unless she gets a lot of support from her husband and her family. But nowadays, you know, the family's in India and the daughter's in the United States, and she's almost alone. So it's devastating. Yeah. Okay, well, we're not going to solve all the problems that we all
Can we have so?
But be very careful about these shots. Don't be, don't take these shots easily because, you know, it's very easy for a doctor to make a mistake or a nurse to make a mistake. Haribo.
Haribo.